Well, before I start, just for a laughter, he said that we went through a long war of 21 years. I want to tell him that the 21 years I spent fighting in the bushes of South Sudan are preferable than the last 10 years that I spent Yes, the 10 years since signing of the peace agreement, the CPA, up to this moment are the worst period that I have ever exercised. And you people know it. Thank you very much. Your Excellency James Wani Iga, Vice President of the Republic, Right Honorable Speaker, Right Honorable Joseph Bolchan, Deputy Speaker of the National Legislature and Speaker of the Council of States, Honorable members of the National Legislature and Executive, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to take this opportunity to greet you all and to wish you best wishes of peace and stability in our country. After signing of the agreement on the resolution of the conflict in the Republic of South Sudan. Before proceeding on, I would like to take this important moment to assure you in this August House, once again, as your President, that I am ready to implement the agreement in letter and spirit. And I call upon you all, as the representatives of our people, to cooperate and join hands with me in the implementation of the agreement in the interest of our people and our beloved country. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, we must stop more bloodshed and destruction in our country. I believe we are all morally and lawfully obligated to do the right things to our people instead of causing them more harm and suffering. With this agreement, we must redouble our efforts to put the country back to normalcy as soon as possible and deliver services to the people. This is what our people want from us, and we must be ready and committed fully to meet their expectations. As we prepare to implement the agreement, we will be hosting the IGAD summit here in Juba in the next few days or next week. This is a very important step towards transferring all the process of the implementation of this peace agreement here at home in South Sudan. This IGAD summit will also involve the inauguration of the Office of the Joint Monitoring and Evaluation Commission, JMEC. In the meantime, we are also expecting the arrival of the advance teams of the SPLM, SPLA in opposition, and former detainees in Juba as a measure of trust and confidence building among ourselves. After several months of conflict, it is not several months, it is 2 years now of conflict and hostility since December 15th, 2013. Unfortunately, as your government is seriously engaged in the preparations for the reception and welcoming of the IGAD heads of state and government, our brothers in the opposition led by Riek Machar are busy attacking our towns and SPLA positions in the greater Upper Nile. On Sunday, November 15th, the rebels of Riek Machar attacked Mar in Jongole State, and 23 people were killed. The following day, the 16th of November, they attacked Nyaldiu in Unity State, and in that attack, most of the cattle of the civil population in the town were all taken by the rebels. The moment they dislodged our forces, they were able to take the cows. And when they were dislodged, cows were already gone. So it is something that happened. As I speak, the rebels are still planning for more attacks on Malakal, Tarjas, Bentiu, Rukona, Gwit, Lair, and Panakwaj. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, as you may recall in my last address to the nation on October 2nd, 2015, on the establishment order for the creation of 28 states, I think I have jumped to Riek Machar position. 28 states in the Republic of South Sudan. I concentrated on political issues, mainly the IGAD Plus agreement. At that time, I did not talk about economic issues facing our country. Now I have signed the peace agreement, but the implementation of this peace agreement comes with challenges and high costs. We have the challenges of repatriation and rehabilitation of IDPs and returnees. My government has put in place a number of executive committees to recommend the strategies and modalities which are important for the smooth implementation of the agreement. In this regard, I call upon the international partners to stand with us in the implementation of this peace agreement. This peace is coming at the time when our country was hit hard with the shocks and economic crisis. For instance, in 2012, due to conflict with Sudan on border issues and transit fees, we shut down our oil production. And in December 2013, we were faced with the failed coup attempt, which triggered the current crisis that we are in. As a result, the insecurity affected the production of our oil in Unity State. All these were followed by the fall of the international prices of crude oil. Today, our only oil production is in Upper Nile State, which is producing approximately 165,000 barrels per day. Yet, we continue to pay the Republic of Sudan what is known as the Sudan Transitional Financial Assistance, TFA, in accordance with the provisions of the Cooperation Agreement 2012. In addition to that, we have to pay fees to Sudan for renting oil pipelines and pay oil companies. This means that we get less revenue coming to us. With reduced oil revenues, we still have to find ways of meeting the cost of running the government and deliver basic social and economic services to our people. Honorable members, the alternative source to meet our financial gap as a government is to improve on the collection of non-oil revenues and seek funds through domestic and external borrowings. Many people and countries have accused South Sudan of borrowing millions from various sources. As your president, I can assure you that South Sudan has not borrowed money externally as people think. What we have done is to take pre-sale of oil to address our economic challenges. My government is also taking steps to secure the supply of essential food commodities to the markets on affordable prices to dampen the current high prices you are experiencing. These measures will go a long way in alleviating most acute difficulties you are currently facing. In regards to the high food prices and fuel shortages, my government has taken serious measures. For food, the government has secured funds and contracted credible banks to import food items. And for fuel, we have signed a contract with international company to close the gap of fuel shortages in the country. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, in order to reduce our dependency on oil revenue and our need for hard currencies to import basic commodities such as food and fuel, we need to invest significantly in our economic infrastructure, particularly our road networks, and increase our productive capacity. Therefore, in order to free up public resources for investment in production and economic infrastructure, we will need to reduce the size of our public sector in non-critical areas. With the peace now, the Ministry of Petroleum and Mining is going to increase the current production and start production in Unity State. The Ministry of Labor, Public Service and Human Resource Development will study effective ways and means that will create incentives for the employees and encourage them to move out of public sector and engage in productive activities in the private sector. In addition to the above, I have instructed the Minister of Finance, together with the Governor of the Bank of South Sudan, to study and recommend how best we can realign the exchange rate regime to cope with the current physical and monetary challenges the country is undergoing. This realignment, ya Jama, is necessary, and I have been always wondering, when I see so many umbrellas in the market here, on the streets, the umbrellas have turned to become the forexes of exchange, and they have become the black market forexes. I wonder, when I see somebody with no good dress and possessing a lot of dollars, where do they get these dollars from? This is something that all of us should go in to find out. Because these are the people slaughtering this country. Well, there are foreign hands in that, because all the NGOs in our country are banking outside South Sudan. And this is not allowed in any country. The NGOs that are working here must bank their money here in South Sudan. We brought you the bill, the NGO's bill. It is in this house. Whether you were threatened not to pass it, it is with you. And I want you to pass this. To increase non-oil revenues, the government has embarked on a process for the establishment of the National Revenue Authority that will ensure professional mechanisms for efficient and effective improvement of non-oil revenue collection. The establishment of the National Revenue Authority will be finalized as soon as the National Assembly passes the relevant bill, and I will readily sign it into law once it reaches my table. Your Excellencies, Honorable Speaker, and honorable members, the shocks to our economy, which I mentioned earlier, have resulted in creating difficulties for people due to inadequate essential basic goods in the markets. I feel that the steps we have taken to address these economic challenges will relieve our people from their sufferings. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, your government has already begun the process of the implementation of the peace agreement by setting up committees to prepare and receive the advance teams from the SPLM, SPLA, IO, and the FDs that are expected to arrive in Juba in the next few days. We also expect the IDPs to be repatriated, rehabilitated, and resettled in their home areas. We shall also undertake integration of SPLM, SPLA-IO forces into the Army, the other organized forces and services. While we prepare for the establishment of the transitional government of national unity, our immediate priorities are: 1. Operationalization of the permanent ceasefire and transitional security arrangements. 2. Renovation of destroyed schools and hospitals. 3. Provision of clean drinking water. And 4. The rehabilitation and renovation of physical infrastructure in the war-affected areas. All these programs need money. The Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning is here directed to prepare a special peace budget for the implementation of peace agreement. Therefore, we need support from our development partners and friends in order to achieve a smooth implementation of the peace agreement. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, in the context of the region, I made an application for membership in the East African Community back in 2011. Over the course of the last year, the government has undertaken negotiations for South Sudan accession to the community. The negotiations have now been concluded. The key outcome from the negotiations is that South Sudan meets the criteria for accession to the East African Community. The issue of South Sudan's membership will now be discussed at the East Africa Community Summit of Heads of States later this month. This is a key step for South Sudan becoming a part of the community. Since independence, South Sudan has a unique opportunity to return to the East Africa region as an important political and economic player. As members of the community, we will enhance our cooperation with the region in a variety of areas, including governance, economic, political, and defense areas. Becoming a member of the East African Community will strengthen South Sudan as a state. Our country will become a member of the region that has one of the fastest economic growth rates in the world. As a small economy, South Sudan cannot compete on the international markets alone. Together with the East African Community, we will stand a better chance to compete and export globally. May I now take this opportunity on your behalf to thank the IGAD heads of state and government, IGAD partners, the international community, and friends of South Sudan for their roles to return peace in South Sudan. In conclusion, I reiterate that my government will exert all its efforts to meet peace causes. However, with current low level of oil prices, it will be hard for the government alone to shoulder these expenses. I therefore appeal to the international community and friends of the South Sudan, if they are there. To continue supporting us in the implementation of this important peace agreement. Let us finally appeal to all of you to welcome your brothers, your sisters, your sons, and your daughters as they come back home to South Sudan. Welcome them with open hearts, reconcile, forgive each other, forget the past, open new pages, create trust, build confidence among yourselves, and live in peace and harmony. To this end, I would like you, my people, to note that we have more things that unite us than those that divide us. Let us unite our ranks for the overall interest of our people and that of our young nation, South Sudan. I thank you very much for listening, and may the Almighty God bless you and bless South Sudan.
We thank all our dignitaries from the three arms of government